All right, America, huddle up. We need to talk about the future. Our country's been through a lot. We've had our fair share of wins and losses, but one thing's for sure, we need a game plan for the years ahead. Something that keeps us strong, keeps us united, and keeps us moving forward. That's where Project 2025 comes in. Think of it like a playbook, a set of strategies to make sure America stays at the top of its game. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another project? Don't we have enough of those? And you're not wrong, but this isn't just some pie-in-the-sky idea cooked up in Washington. Project 2025 is different. It's about taking a hard look at what makes America tick, what our values are, and how we can make those values a reality for everyone. This isn't about one political party or one group of people. It's about all of us, working together to build a better future. It's about making sure the American dream isn't just a dream, but a reality for every single one of us. So, let's break it down, shall we? Let's understand what this Project 2025 is all about, and why it matters. Okay, so what exactly is Project 2025? In a nutshell, it's a plan. A big, ambitious plan to strengthen America and get us ready for the challenges of the 21st century. It's about making sure our government works for the people, that our economy is strong, and that our country is safe. This isn't some secret document hidden away in a vault. It's out there for everyone to see. Project 2025 is all about transparency, about letting the American people see what's being planned and having a say in their future. It's about bringing people together, not dividing them. It's about remembering the values that have made America great: freedom, opportunity, and justice for all. And it's about making sure those values are protected and strengthened for generations to come. It's like a home renovation project, but for our entire country. We're talking about fixing what's broken, updating what's outdated, and making sure everything is running smoothly. Now I know what you're thinking. Talk is cheap, John. We've heard it all before. And you're right to be skeptical. We've all been promised the moon before, only to end up with a handful of moon dust. But here's the thing about Project 2025. It's not just talk. It's about taking action. This project is built on a foundation of concrete proposals and practical solutions. It's about identifying the challenges we face as a nation and coming up with real, workable plans to address them. It's about rolling up our sleeves and getting to work, not just sitting around and debating the issues endlessly. It's about bringing together the best and brightest minds from across the country to develop innovative solutions to our most pressing problems. From healthcare to education, from infrastructure to national security, Project 2025 covers a lot of ground. But at its core, it's about one thing: ensuring a brighter future for all Americans. Now let's talk about the heart of it all, our Constitution. This document, written over 200 years ago, is the bedrock of our nation. It's the rule book, the playbook that has guided us through thick and thin. And Project 2025, it's not about tearing up that playbook. It's about making sure we're playing by the rules and that those rules work for us in the 21st century. The Constitution isn't some dusty old relic. It's a living, breathing document that has evolved over time to meet the changing needs of our nation. And just like any good coach adjusts their game plan based on the opponent, we need to be willing to make adjustments to our Constitution to ensure it remains relevant and effective. Project 2025 recognizes the importance of our Constitution and seeks to strengthen it, not weaken it. It's about upholding the principles of limited government, individual liberty, and the rule of law. It's about ensuring that our government remains accountable to the people it serves. It's about making sure that the American experiment in self-governance continues to thrive for generations to come. Now some folks hear change and Constitution in the same sentence and start clutching their pearls. Don't mess with the Founding Fathers, they cry, but here's the thing. The Founding Fathers weren't dummies. They knew times change, and they built that into the system. They gave us a way to amend the Constitution, to adapt it to new realities. Think of it like this. You wouldn't wear the same clothes you wore in high school, right? Times change, styles change, you change. The Constitution is kind of like that. It needs a few alterations now and then to fit a growing nation. The Founding Fathers were all about freedom, and that includes the freedom to make our government work better. They didn't expect us to be frozen in time, worshiping their powdered wigs. They expected us to use our noggins, to face challenges head-on, and to keep making America better. And that's what Project 2025 is all about. It's about taking the Founding Fathers' vision and making it work for us today. One of the biggies in the Constitution is the idea of opportunity. The chance for everyone to climb the ladder, build a good life for themselves and their families. But here's the deal. That ladder's gotten kinda rickety. Project 2025 wants to fix it up, make it sturdy and accessible for everyone. See, the Founding Fathers didn't write a whole lot about the internet or artificial intelligence. They couldn't have predicted the gig economy or global trade on this scale. Project 2025 takes those changes into account. It looks at how we can make sure everyone benefits from the new economy, not just a lucky few. It's about things like job training programs for the skills of the future, making sure small businesses can compete, and keeping our edge in science and technology. It's about making sure the American dream isn't just a dream, but a real possibility for everyone willing to work hard. That's what the Founding Fathers would have wanted. A nation where everyone has a shot at success. Another brilliant thing about the Constitution, it's designed to stop any one person or group from getting too much power. Checks and balances, they call it. The Founding Fathers knew power corrupts, so they built in safeguards. Project 2025, it's all about making sure those safeguards are still working. See, over time things can get out of whack. One branch of government might get too strong, or special interests might start calling the shots. Project 2025 takes a hard look at those power dynamics and suggests ways to rebalance things to make sure no one's overstepping their bounds. This isn't about one party or ideology, it's about making the system work the way it's supposed to. It's about transparency and accountability, making sure those in power are answerable to the people. It's about making sure the government serves the people, not the other way around. Section 4. A More Perfect Union Project 2025 and the Promise of Equal Justice. Now let's be real, folks. When the Constitution was written, it didn't exactly live up to its own ideals for everyone. We the people didn't include women, people of color, or a whole lot of other folks. But here's the beauty of the thing. It was designed to change, to grow. Project 2025 recognizes that we're still striving for that more perfect union. It acknowledges the systemic racism and inequality that still plague our nation, and it proposes ways to address those injustices to make sure everyone truly has equal opportunity and protection under the law. This means tackling things like criminal justice reform, voting rights, and economic disparities. It's about making sure everyone has a fair shot, regardless of their race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or zip code. It's about making the promise of America real for every single American. Section 5. The People's Voice. Project 2025 and Civic Engagement. You know that whole government by the people, for the people thing? Yeah, that's pretty important. But somewhere along the way it feels like the by the people part got a little lost. Project 2025 wants to crank up the volume on the people's voice. See, the Founding Fathers knew a healthy democracy depends on engaged citizens. Folks who vote, speak their minds, and hold their leaders accountable. Project 2025 looks at ways to make it easier for people to participate in their government. It's about things like making voting more accessible, protecting the right to peaceful protest, and encouraging open dialogue and debate. It's about making sure everyone feels like they have a stake in their government, that their voices are heard, and that they have the power to make a difference. Section 6. Securing the Future. Project 2025 and National Security. Now, the Founding Fathers knew a strong nation needs to be a safe nation. They charged the government with providing for the common defense. But the world's a whole lot different now than it was back then. Project 2025 recognizes that and looks at how we can keep America safe in the 21st century. This isn't just about tanks and planes, folks. It's about cybersecurity, protecting our infrastructure from attacks, and dealing with things like climate change and global pandemics. It's about smart, strategic defense that keeps us safe without bankrupting the nation or trampling on our freedoms. It's about making sure America remains a beacon of strength and security in an increasingly uncertain world. It's about protecting our interests, our values, and our way of life for generations to come. It's about ensuring that the American experiment in freedom and democracy continues to thrive. Section 1. The F word. Let's clear the air. Now I know there's been some chatter, some hushed whispers, and some outright yelling about Project 2025. Some folks are throwing around a word that starts with F and ends with assism. And let me tell you, that's a big, scary word. It's a word that should never be thrown around lightly. So let's address the elephant in the room, shall we? Project 2025 is not, I repeat, not about fascism. Fascism is about crushing dissent, silencing opposition, and concentrating power in the hands of a select few. Project 2025 is the opposite. It's about open debate, diverse perspectives, and empowering the American people. It's about strengthening our democracy, not dismantling it. It's understandable that people are wary of any big plan, especially in this day and age. We've seen what happens when power goes unchecked, when fear and division are allowed to fester. But Project 2025 isn't about any of that. It's about coming together as Americans, regardless of our differences, to build a better future for everyone. Section 2, Project 2025. Shining a light, not seizing control. One of the hallmarks of fascism is secrecy, operating in the shadows, keeping the people in the dark. Project 2025 is anything but secretive. It's an open book, available for anyone and everyone to read, scrutinize, and debate. In fact, public input is encouraged and welcomed. This project isn't about some shadowy cabal making decisions behind closed doors. It's about bringing the issues out into the open, having honest conversations, and finding solutions together. It's about transparency and accountability, the very things that fascist regimes despise. The more people know about Project 2025, the more they understand it, the clearer it becomes that this isn't some nefarious plot. It's a roadmap for a stronger, more vibrant, and more inclusive America. It's about shining a light on the challenges we face and working together to overcome them. Section 3. Strength and diversity, not uniformity. Another key tenet of fascism is the suppression of diversity, forcing everyone into the same mold, silencing dissenting voices, and demonizing those who are different. Project 2025 recognizes that America's strength lies in its diversity. Our differences, our unique perspectives, our varied experiences, these are not weaknesses to be eradicated, but strengths to be celebrated and harnessed. This project is about creating a more inclusive America, where everyone feels valued, respected, and heard. It's about ensuring that all Americans, regardless of their background, have an equal opportunity to succeed. It's about recognizing that our differences make us stronger, not weaker. Project 2025 is about building bridges, not walls. It's about embracing our shared humanity and working together to create a more just and equitable society for all. It's about celebrating what unites us as Americans, while also respecting and valuing our differences. Section 4. Your rights still intact. Project 2025 and individual freedoms. Now, some folks might be worried that Project 2025 is some kind of power grab, that it's going to infringe on our individual liberties. Let me be crystal clear. Project 2025 is not about taking away your rights, it's about protecting them. The Constitution guarantees certain fundamental rights: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, the right to bear arms, the right to due process, and Project 2025 respects and upholds those rights. In fact, this project seeks to strengthen those rights, to ensure that they are protected for all Americans. It recognizes that a free and open society depends on the ability of its citizens to express themselves freely, to worship as they choose, and to hold their government accountable. Project 2025 is not about government overreach. It's about finding the right balance between individual liberty and the common good. It's about ensuring that our rights are protected, while also recognizing that we have a responsibility to one another, to our communities, and to our nation. Section 5, Who Watches the Watchman? Project 2025 and Accountability. One of the dangers of any government initiative is the potential for abuse of power. Project 2025 recognizes this and builds in safeguards to prevent it. It emphasizes transparency and accountability, ensuring that the people have a voice in how their government operates and that those in power are held responsible for their actions. This project is not about giving the government more power. It's about making the government more accountable to the people it serves. It's about ensuring that the people have a say in how their tax dollars are spent, how their laws are made, and how their country is run. Project 2025 is about empowering the people, not the powerful. It's about creating a more responsive and accountable government that works for all Americans, not just a select few. It's about ensuring that the government serves the people, not the other way around. Learning from the past, building for the future. Why bother with Project 2025? Our systems worked for over 200 years, why change it now? History's full of lessons. If we don't adapt, we get stuck in the past. Project 2025 is about learning from history. It's about building a better future. Recognizing the world changes, we must change too. Ensuring the American experiment thrives and inspires. Now let's talk history, folks. Some people treat the Constitution like it's a sacred artifact, locked away in a glass case. They say, don't touch it, don't even breathe on it. But here's the thing. The Founding Fathers didn't carve the Constitution on stone tablets. They wrote it on paper with quills, probably while wearing itchy breeches. And you know what? They knew it wasn't perfect. They even built in a way to change it, to make it better, to keep it relevant to the times. They understood that a nation, like any living, breathing thing, needs to adapt to survive. Think of it like your phone, right? You wouldn't keep using a clunky old flip phone from the 90s when you've got smartphones doing all sorts of fancy things. The Constitution needs updates too. It needs to keep up with the times, with the new challenges and opportunities that each generation faces. And that's where Project 2025 comes in. It's about making sure our operating system, our national code, is equipped to handle the 21st century. The Founding Fathers were smart cookies. They knew they weren't all-knowing, that they couldn't predict every curveball the future might throw. So they gave us a mechanism for change, a way to tweak the system amendments. These are like software updates for our democracy, patches that fix bugs and add new features. And guess what? We've used them a lot. We've amended the Constitution 27 times. 27 times. That's not a sacred document gathering dust. That's a living, breathing document that we've continually molded to meet our needs. Each amendment tells a story about how we've grown, learned, and strived to make America more just and equitable. From abolishing slavery to granting women the right to vote, these amendments are proof that change is possible, that we can make our nation better, that we don't have to be bound by the limitations of the past. And Project 2025, it's just the latest update, a necessary upgrade to keep our democracy running smoothly. Now let's talk about the Bill of Rights, those first 10 amendments. These are the biggies, folks. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the right to bear arms, protection from unreasonable searches and seizures. These are the cornerstones of our liberty, the bedrock of what it means to be an American. But here's the thing, even these fundamental rights have evolved over time. Think about it, freedom of the press meant something different when the printing press was the height of technology. Now we've got the internet, social media, a whole new world of information and expression. The Bill of Rights isn't some static set of rules etched in stone. It's a living, breathing document that adapts to new technologies, new challenges, new understandings of what it means to be free. Project 2025 recognizes this. It understands that our freedoms need to be protected in the digital age, in the face of new threats and opportunities. Section 4, From Prohibition to Suffrage, When America Changed Its Mind. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sure, John, amending the Constitution sounds all well and good, but those are big, sweeping changes. Even seemingly small changes to our laws and policies can have a huge impact. Remember Prohibition? Talk about a social experiment gone wrong? Or how about women's suffrage? the 19th Amendment was passed, granting women the right to vote. These changes took years of activism, debate, and disagreements. America is a nation built on ambition, on the belief that we can always do better, be better. Section 5, the New Deal, a big fix for big problems. Let's talk about the Great Depression, folks. It was a full-blown national crisis. Unemployment through the roof, people losing their homes, their savings, their hope. Enter the New Deal. Roosevelt came in with a plan to lift the country out of the Depression. But here's the thing, it worked. The New Deal helped pull America out of despair. Section 6, the Civil Rights Era, righting historical wrongs. Now, let's talk about one of the most transformative periods in American history, the Civil Rights Era. For centuries, Black Americans were denied their basic rights, subjected to discrimination, segregation, and violence. The Constitution, as it was then, clearly wasn't living up to its promise of liberty and justice for all. But brave men and women from Rosa Parks to Martin Luther King Jr. to John Lewis stood up and said enough is enough. They marched, they protested, they put their lives on the line to demand equality and justice. And slowly, painstakingly, change began to happen. Laws were passed, barriers were broken, and America took a giant step closer to fulfilling its founding ideals. The Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, these landmark pieces of legislation were not just legal victories, they were moral victories. They were testaments to the power of people, united in a common cause, to overcome even the most deeply ingrained injustices. They showed that America, though flawed, is capable of change, of redemption, of living up to its highest aspirations. Section 7, Project 2025, the next chapter in our national story. So here we are, folks, on the cusp of something new, something bold, something potentially transformative. Project 2025. Some folks are afraid of change. They cling to the past, to the familiar, to the way things have always been. But America has never been a nation afraid of change. We've always been a nation of pioneers, of innovators, of dreamers who dared to make those dreams a reality. Project 2025 is not about abandoning our values, our principles, or our Constitution. It's about building on them, strengthening them, adapting them to the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century. It's about ensuring that our nation remains a beacon of hope, freedom, and opportunity for generations to come, just like those who came before us, who fought for abolition, for suffrage, for civil rights. We have a responsibility to leave this nation better than we found it. Project 2025 is our chance to do just that. It's our chance to write the next chapter in the American story, a chapter filled with hope, progress, and the unwavering belief that together, we can build a brighter future for all. Section 1, Reinforcing the Foundation, Strengthening Voting Rights and Access. All right, folks, let's talk about the cornerstone of any democracy: voting. It's the right that makes all other rights possible. The Founding Fathers knew this, which is why they put so much emphasis on we the people governing ourselves. But somewhere along the way, that right, that fundamental right, has been chipped away at, eroded by voter suppression tactics and bureaucratic hurdles. Project 2025 says, enough is enough. It recognizes that a healthy democracy requires active participation from all its citizens, not just a select few. It's about making sure every eligible American can cast their vote easily, safely, and without fear or intimidation. This means expanding early voting opportunities, making Election Day a national holiday, and implementing automatic voter registration. It's about streamlining the registration process, ensuring access for voters with disabilities, and combating voter ID laws that disproportionately disenfranchise minority communities. Project 2025 is about making sure every vote counts, because every voice deserves to be heard. Section 2, Leveling the Playing Field, Economic Justice and Opportunity for All. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room: economic inequality. The gap between the haves and the have-nots has been widening for decades, and it's time we do something about it. The American dream is starting to feel like a distant memory for far too many people. Project 2025 recognizes that economic justice is not just about fairness, it's about strengthening our democracy. When a small percentage of the population holds the vast majority of the wealth, it undermines the very fabric of our society. It creates a system where the voices of the wealthy are amplified, while the voices of the working class are drowned out. Project 2025 seeks to level the playing field, to create an economy that works for everyone, not just those at the top. This means raising the minimum wage, strengthening unions, investing in education and job training, and providing affordable healthcare for all. It's about creating a tax system that asks the wealthiest Americans to pay their fair share, and using those resources to invest in the programs and services that benefit all Americans, like infrastructure, education, and healthcare. Section 3. Justice for all, not just for some criminal justice reform in action. Let's be honest, folks, our criminal justice system is anything but just. It's a system that disproportionately targets and punishes people of color, the poor, and the marginalized. Mass incarceration has devastated communities and torn families apart, all while doing little to address the root causes of crime. Project 2025 recognizes that we need a new approach, one that prioritizes rehabilitation over punishment, restorative justice over retribution. This means ending cash bail, which traps people in jail simply because they can't afford to buy their freedom. It means investing in alternatives to incarceration, like drug treatment programs and mental health services. It means reforming sentencing guidelines that have led to excessively long prison sentences, even for non-violent offenses. Project 2025 is about breaking the cycle of mass incarceration and creating a system that truly focuses on rehabilitation, reintegration, and second chances. It's about recognizing that everyone deserves a fair shot at redemption, regardless of their past mistakes. It's about creating a justice system that lives up to its name, one that is truly just for all. Section 4, Truth and Reconciliation, addressing systemic racism and inequality. Let's be clear, folks, America has a race problem. Systemic racism is deeply embedded in the fabric of our society, from our criminal justice system to our education system to our healthcare system. It's a legacy of slavery, Jim Crow, and centuries of discrimination that continues to this day. Project 2025 recognizes that we cannot simply ignore this problem. We must actively work to dismantle it. This means acknowledging the harm that has been done, listening to the voices of those who have been marginalized, and taking concrete steps to address the root causes of racial inequality. It means investing in communities of color, reforming our education system to ensure equitable outcomes for all students, and promoting diversity and inclusion in all aspects of American life. Project 2025 is about creating a more equitable and just society for all Americans, regardless of race, ethnicity, or background. It's about recognizing that our diversity is our strength and that we are stronger together. It's about finally living up to the promise of our founding documents that all men are created equal and endowed with certain unalienable rights. Section 5, Securing Our Future, Climate Change and Environmental Protection. Now let's talk about the biggest challenge facing our planet: climate change. The science is clear, folks. The planet is warming, and human activity is the primary cause. We're already seeing the effects, from more extreme weather events to rising sea levels to mass extinctions. Project 2025 recognizes that we have a moral obligation to act to protect our planet for future generations. This means transitioning away from fossil fuels and investing in renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and geothermal. It means implementing policies that reduce carbon emissions, promote energy efficiency, and protect our natural resources. It means listening to the scientists, the experts, and the young people who will inherit the consequences of our actions. Project 2025 is about creating a sustainable future for all, one where we live in harmony with our environment and ensure a healthy planet for generations to come. It's about recognizing that our actions have consequences and that we have a responsibility to be good stewards of this earth. Project 2025 and the power of we the people. Project 2025 is a bold vision for a stronger, more just, and equitable America. It's a call to action for all of us to come together and build a better future. We are all in this together, with a shared responsibility to create a more perfect union. The challenges are real, but so is our capacity for change. We've overcome obstacles before, from slavery to segregation. We've landed on the moon, cured diseases, and connected the world. We are a nation of innovators, dreamers, and doers. Project 2025 is an American issue, reclaiming the promise of our founding. It's about creating a nation where everyone can thrive, building a future worthy of our children and grandchildren. Section 1. The Long Game Project 2025 and the Future of America. We've talked about the Constitution, its strengths and its flaws. Project 2025 aims to create a more just, equitable, and prosperous America. It's a long-term vision, a roadmap for a better tomorrow. America has always been a nation of problem solvers and innovators. Project 2025 is our chance to build a future worthy of our children. Section 2. Beyond the buzzwords. Real change requires real action. Now, I know what you're thinking. Talk is cheap, John, we've heard it all before. And you're right to be skeptical. We've all been promised the moon before, only to end up with a handful of moon dust. The road to a better future is paved with good intentions, but it's also littered with broken promises and unrealized dreams. So, how do we make sure Project 2025 is different? How do we turn this ambitious vision into a tangible reality? It starts with each and every one of us. It starts with staying informed, engaging in our communities, and holding our elected officials accountable. It starts with rejecting cynicism and apathy, and embracing the belief that we can, in fact, make a difference. Project 2025 isn't about waiting for someone else to fix things. It's about rolling up our sleeves and doing the work ourselves. It's about demanding more from our leaders, from our institutions, and from ourselves. It's about recognizing that real change requires real action, and it starts with each and every one of us. Section 3. Time to suit up, America. Project 2025 is our play. Look, folks, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The road ahead won't be easy. There will be setbacks, there will be resistance, but we can't give up. The stakes are too high, the consequences of inaction too dire. We are at a crossroads, America. The decisions we make today will determine the course of our nation. Or we can choose to embrace the future, to build a more perfect union. Project 2025 is a call to action, a rallying cry for all Americans to come together. It's time to suit up, America, because this is our place.